Welcome back, everybody, to our Healthy Diversity Town Hall. We're joined by the team from Hoxworth Blood Center's Center for Closing the Health Gap. We have our wonderful person here in need of a kidney donor, and we're going to talk about all that and why it matters. This team here wants you to know that starting with our blood supply, all types are welcome. You know your blood type?
A negative.
Whether it's A negative, the type Mike has, or O positive, as Tracy provides.
I feel more that there's no good reason for me not to.
Different blood types, such as A, B, or O, are needed to meet community blood needs.
I donate because it helps save lives. Many people need blood and transfusions.
But so are different ethnic backgrounds.
We know that more diverse blood results in better outcomes for certain disease populations.
Dr. Caroline Alquist is a specialist in blood compatibility. She says when it comes to matching blood for everything from certain types of anemia to organ transplants.
What's interesting is that your heritage, your background, results in blood cells that are slightly different.
So because we are diverse in our heritage, we need donors that are Asian, African American, Hispanic, and white, just to name a few. And here's why.
There's different kinds of proteins on the surface of those cells that in certain populations we have to match.
And matching those with blood types.
I have a rare blood type, and I can give it to anyone.
And different types of donor diversity simply means we have a blood supply ready and waiting to save more lives.
It's a great thing to do. I think it's the next best way of giving back to the community.
It's very emotional. I love doing it.
So how do you feel like inside in your soul when you help save lives like this?
You feel good about it, that you're helping someone.
All right, so that brings us to why we donate. Myron, you've been a donor and you have worked with Hoxworth for a while. Tell me that.
Yes, well, I started off being a donor mainly because a cousin of mine had sickle cell, but he never told me he had sickle cell, but he kept telling me I needed to go to give blood, but he never really gave me the reason. And unfortunately, he passed away before I had the chance to react. But after finding out the need, it got me started in donating. So I think it's been about 15 years that I've been donating and try to do it as faithful as possible.
That's a wonderful way to pay tribute to his legacy.
Most definitely, and there's a need, not only him, but thousands and maybe millions of others need for us to step up and do our part in giving back to our community.
Yeah, no question. So why does it make a difference in blood, organ, and tissue donation to have a diverse background or to have a diverse supply?
Absolutely. For blood, we know that people that have conditions requiring chronic transfusion therapy, that often they need better matched blood than the average patient. So if you're in an accident, we give you an emergency transfusion, we often are using a blunt instrument in many ways, right? We're giving you something we know you need in that moment and are unlikely to need again. If you're receiving chronic transfusions, we need to be a lot more careful. So if you have a disease like sickle cell disease, we need to be very precise in how we match that blood type. And because different backgrounds, different ethnicities have different proteins on the surface of those cells, if we have a blood supply that matches the patients in need, we can do a much better job of matching those and providing that blood in a quick and efficient manner.
Yeah, what a difference. And of course, it makes a difference in organ donation in much of the same way. I can donate to you regardless of my background, and I know that you are tireless in your letting people know that. But just share with me a little bit. You've needed a kidney now for a while.
Yes, it's been about 4 years.
And so what happens now? Do you live on dialysis? And
for the last 4 years, I have lived on dialysis. So what that means is, every other day, I'm on a machine for about 4 hours. But after that, it's go to bed, get something to eat, and go to bed. That day is pretty much a waste.
Your body is just fighting to survive.
Totally fatigued.
Yeah.
The next day, I generally feel better, with the exception of now I slept all day, so I'm up all night. Now the next morning, it's hard to function. But, we do what we got to do.
And God bless you for just getting up here and being with us today. She said, I'm going to be here even if I have to move my dialysis. We are so glad. And Renee, I know you've been an advocate now for organ and tissue donation. How come?
For a couple of reasons. One, I believe some of those myths early on that were shared generation to generation. And once I understood that those myths weren't true, I realized that I needed to be a donor and register to be a donor. And I'm now advocating for many people to kind of ignore the myth and make sure that we work together to save lives. I think the more informed we are, the more we are able to be a part of the solution. From donation to transplantation, the data doesn't look good for marginalized people. But if we step up and become donors, then we increase those odds for individuals who are waiting for transplant.
And, you know, isn't that what healthy diversity is all about? Looking out for each other in a very unique way. So stand by. We're going to continue this conversation, but to donate, we want you to know in most cases, for blood, you need to be 17 years old or 16 with a parent's permission. You need to be in good health, weigh about 110 pounds. And Hoxworth desperately needs new donors. About 5% of the population supports the other 95% that often need blood, tissue, and whatnot. So 513-451-0910 is that conversation if you just want to find out more information.